Hey guys, Dissection of Violence. Let's start off with two things. One, talking shit. It's one thing, but if you're gonna defame me, at least get your receipts. Because if you're gonna say accusations about me, saying that I don't know, like I don't know, I'm a scammer, I'm a kid. There's those things are terrible things to say about someone. And if you're gonna go out and say things like that, at least come with receipts because that ain't right. Um, I don't know. That's just the first thing I want to address. Don't ask me about it in the comments. Don't even ask me. Just in case this individual watches this, I don't have anything against him, truly, other than the stuff he says about me. Um, what's done is done in the past. I truly am kind of grateful for what happened because it's helped me become a better, you know, handicapper. Honestly, I don't even want to give this any attention, but when you're gonna make accusations like that, I gotta, hopefully you see this because I doubt it because, you hate me, but you never know. But yeah, to anyone out there, if you're gonna talk about someone, at least come correct with receipts because defamation is a real thing, and yeah, it ain't cool in my opinion, but you know, people are gonna do what they're gonna do. Moving on though, this is a sick card. I'm actually really excited for it. I'm thinking we sweep it. There could be a few landmines, but I'm expecting landmines. If I sweep, then great. But this is one of those cards where a sweep is a possibility. I don't go into cards thinking I'm going to sweep them, but this one there's a good chance that I could. This is a pretty, you know, it's a pretty, favorite heavy card. Oh, and another thing I want to address. Someone in the comment mentioned that I don't look prepared some fights. I don't study enough some fights. You're right. Some fights I don't even bother researching. Some of them. Very few. 10% of them. Because they don't deserve to get researched, to be honest. That's because I'm not even and if I don't talk about them in depth, there's a good chance I'm not playing them. Or even like watching the fight. Watch it's a lie. I watch all the fights. And there's a good chance I'll live play that fight. Because, what am I gonna do? You got two cans fighting each other. What am I gonna talk about? I'm sorry you don't want me to go into depth about two cans. I'm sorry. But anyways, that's 2 minutes. I wanted to get through these two things. But yeah, back to the UFC, man. This is gonna be a sick card. Man, it's gonna be depressing at a main event if what I think is gonna happen is gonna happen. But I'm praying to the MMA gods that it's going to, that either again, I'll get to that fight in a bit, but man, I really want to get into it now, but we'll have to wait. But yeah, moving on, we're gonna get started here. We got Kevin Jousset versus Kiefer Crosbie. Kiefer Crosbie, he's a boxer primarily. His record isn't great. He's lost to a lot of bums. His grappling is very mid. I believe he's on the roids, and I believe he's gonna have to be coming off of it to get into the UFC. I think he's Irish, and they've had a terrible run so far. So I'm gonna be fading an Irish as much as possible. Luckily for me, I got plus odds on Jousset, so I just use that as an arbitrage to get free money. I don't really want to even have stake in this fight, to be honest. I think Jousset wins this just with having more tools in the toolbox, but he's very, very hittable. And if he gets hit by Crosby with the hands, I can see it being a huge problem. So I prepared for any outcome. I'm going with Jousset here, but don't be surprised if Crosby chins him. But yeah, this should be a Jousset fight. He's a very, very he's a very, very experienced fighter, or not very, very, but like decently experienced. He's fight the guys like Jack Della Maddalena. I can't remember the other guy, but he's fought some pretty good guys. I think Kevin Jousset is a pretty good fighter, man. I think he's gonna, you know, I don't think he's gonna be doing much in the sport, but I don't know. He looked pretty good in that fight. Adesanya went to watch him, and is it that fight? I'm pretty sure it was. Where Adesanya went to watch him. Yeah, it was Hex Series. But man, these guys aren't great that he's fighting. That's the one thing I gotta say about this is I don't know, man. Like it's not that he's fought bums. It's just like he doesn't. I don't think he's elite, but I think he's good enough to beat Kiefer Crosby. That's how I'm gonna end it. Moving on, we have Shane Young taking on Gabriel Miranda. So before you start off saying, "Oh, Miranda's bad," when was Saint Denis melted him? in 2 rounds, but he also melted Moises in 2 rounds, if that means anything. Maybe they're not great nails. Okay. But Shane Young is not the guy that's gonna make you, go, oh God, I gotta go, really gotta, get on my bike here because he's coming with hell. Shane Young is not that guy, man. He is just so mid. Like if you looked up mid in a dictionary, like Shane Young would pop up. He is not good, man. Like you can't have these losses, man, and expect to do well in the UFC. They weren't even splits. Like Volkanovski in hindsight should have finished him, but I'll give it to him. He's a decently tough guy. Decently. Obviously he lost by head kick, but head kicks I can't really give you too much flack for. Head it's one of the most dangerous strikes to get hit with other than, elbows, knees. But yeah, man, like I honestly don't rate that. I don't rate this guy very highly at all. He's a favorite. I don't get why. I'm gonna have to take a dog shot on Miranda here. Um, Man, I don't like Young, man. He is not like he struggles with grapplers, and Miranda, he's fought in Brave. He's fought good guys. He's bound to split decisions with a Magomedov or whatever you say his name. Like I don't want to fade a guy who's a bum versus a guy from Brave. Like I'm gonna go with Gabriel Miranda. I feel like he's gonna have some success here, and he's gonna win the fight. I worry if it goes to a decision, but other than that, I feel like this is a Miranda fight. I don't know if he'll get a submission, but he should win the fight. Moving on, we have Charlie Radtke versus Blood Diamond. I'm on Charlie Radtke here. Blood Diamond is terrible. 3-2. He's a nice guy. I got to meet him in Vegas, but man, he is not good. His striking is very unorthodox, so it could be effective in some instances, but for the most part, it's pretty, weird looking and it's not, fundamentally very sound. I feel like Charlie Radtke, maybe not as, technical on the feet. I feel like he has more power in his hands. He's definitely dangerous. He's not soy. Blood Diamond, when he gets taken down, he doesn't do well. Charlie Radtke, if he gets you down, he's going to submit you, especially if you're a guy with a white belt like Blood Diamond. Charlie Radtke by submission is the play. Could Blood Diamond KO him? Maybe. I don't think so, but you never know. He fought a guy, Charlie Radtke fought Raheem Forrest, and he made him look easy. Obviously, he went through a little adversity, but that's Raheem Forrest. So if you're Raheem Forrest, you can do it. Raheem Forrest's flurries should be able to do it. Blood Diamond, even though it's a completely different style of striker, but I'm going to go with Charlie Radtke here. I think he's going to be the more well-rounded fighter, more experienced fighter, and the better fighter. So I'm going to go with Charlie Radtke here. He could get caught, but I'm not going to pick a guy just because he could get caught. Not pick a guy because he could, you know what I mean. Yeah. Moving on, we have Nasrat Haqparast versus Landon Quinones. I really like Haqparast here. Quinones is just not good. He's a scrapper and he's a meathead. He's gonna come and scrap and throw some heavy hands and try to land big. But for the most part, man, he is just so green. Like he is not good. Like he puts himself into submissions, which you never should. It's not even like the submissions are that. Like he lost to Jason Knight. For the love of God, you lost to Jason Knight. That's all I need to know. Is you lost to Jason freaking Knight. Who is this Naimov guy that you lost? Oh, hello. So you took Naimov to a split, but to be honest, I don't really rate Naimov that much either. So, man, this is an interesting one. He's definitely a scrapper. He's got a puncher's chance, but I'm going to go with Nas right here. He's just a more well-rounded fighter, more experienced fighter, more polished fighter. He's got a better team with him. What is Landon Quinones going to do other than maybe catch him? Has Nasrat even been KO'd yet in his career? Let me see. He has. Okay. Maybe it could be possible, but I'm just not going to bank on that. I'm going to go with Nasrat here. He's a beast. Moving on, we got John Makdessi taking on Jamie Mullarkey. Interesting scrap. I'm really torn on this one because John Makdessi is honestly very, very like dangerous with his hands, and Mullarkey is very chinny. Makdessi is older. He's training at Fight Ready now, so that's going to be good for takedown defense. I don't think Jamie's going to have very much success taking him down unless he puts on a high pace. I do think Mullarkey wins this somehow, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Makdessi win. I'm gonna probably either pass on this fight or live play it. I don't see a lot of opportunities with this fight. Maybe the plus 3-5, but I'm gonna try to stay away from that after the robbery last week. So, anyways, John Makdessi, great fighter, legend. He's an old fighter, 38, 39 years old. So I'm gonna have to ride with Mullarkey here, but definitely a hard decision for sure. Moving on, we have. Oh, forgot to say, Jamie Mullarkey is. Yeah, I'm not even gonna get into Jamie Mullarkey. He frustrates me. Moving on, we have Jack Jenkins versus Chepe Mariscal. I love Chepe. Everyone loves Chepe, but Chepe is not at this level. If you cannot finish Trevor Peek, you do not belong in the UFC. Trevor Peek is a bum. Mariscal is not a bum, but he is more so a journeyman, in my opinion. He is going to be here for the ride, not so much a title. He is very, very well rounded. So he has some decent jiu-jitsu, really good judo, um, some pretty nasty striking. His hands are a little bit too low for my liking. He gets hit a lot, which I don't like, especially if you're going to get hit by Peak. That's not good. Peak has no setup for his punches, so I'm definitely going to be taking Jenkins here because I don't think Chepe will offensively grapple. And if he does, he could win this, but I don't think he will. And because of that, I'm going to go with Jenkins by leg kick TKO, rounds 2 or 3. I just think Chepe he's a decent fighter fighting out of a really good team, elevation fight team, but I just think this might be a little bit too much for him on the feet. And I think it's going to cause him a lot of problems with the leg kicks. But, never know. Jack Jenkins' grappling is very suspect, and he is very, very frustrating to watch fight with his fight IQ. So I'm going with Jack Jenkins, but Chepe, he could pull an upset here, and I wouldn't be surprised. Moving on, we have Carlos Ulberg taking on Un Jung. This is a pretty straightforward card. Un Jung, man, he is mid as another guy who's very mid. He's got some talents. He throws some elbows. He mixes up the variety with his striking, but he's just too chinny, too much of an ape at times, and he made it to a split decision with Sam Alvey. That's all I need to say. And not even Sam in his prime. Sam Alvey near the end of the career in the UFC. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Carlos Ulberg, if he does not win this fight, I will be in utter shock. Should be an easy win for Ulberg. First or second round TKO. Un Jung is way too chinny to fight a guy as heavy hitting as Ulberg. I think he'll find the chin and put Un Jung away. But as we're getting higher in the weight classes, I would lean away with chalk just because heavyweights are a little more suspect. And light heavyweights. Moving on, we have Tyson Pedro versus Anton Turkalj. So this is another one where I'm like, Pedro should win. He should cruise. But he doesn't have his knees are weak. His cardio's not great. And I just don't know what to think about him, honestly. I think he's got talent and he should win this fight by KO or, submission. But Anton Turkalj is decent on the ground, man. He is pretty fundamentally sound on the ground. He struggles a bit, but with his recklessness and apish tendencies. He also gets hit a lot. He's got a pretty good chin too. I'm gonna go with Pedro here, but it could go really badly. This is a live betting spot for me. If Turkalj makes it out of the first round and Pedro is looking even remotely tired, you got to hammer Turkalj. Pedro is downhill from there. But yeah, moving on. This is you know, they're in Sydney, but I think a lot of people are going to expect the Sydney fighters because of what happened in Singapore or Paris. It's not the same thing. Everything's circumstantial. You have to remember that. Moving on, we have Justin I can't even remember his name. Tafa versus Austin Lane. Austin Lane is a timid soul. He doesn't like to fight, And when you don't like to fight and you're fighting a guy like Justin Tafa, you're going to get either KO'd or TKO'd. And when you get KO'd by a guy like Greg Hardy, I'm pretty sure you're going to get TKO'd by a guy named Justin Tafa. Watching the first fight, you could really tell he did not like the hands that were coming his way. He didn't get hit by anything, I don't believe, but he definitely didn't like it because he was very, very urgent to get away from those punches. He almost got hit a few times because he just doesn't have good head movement, and he just kind of like tries to get out of the way, but sometimes he leaves his chin not open at the same time. Justin Tafa, I think, will catch eventually. He got poked in the eye after getting hit with a few, you know, what is it? What's that word? That um, Peter Pan kicks that I believe just Austin Lane will attempt to throw, and Tafa will get him out of there in the first or second. I'm going with Justin Tafa here. But yeah, it could go. It's heavyweight, so don't be too sure. Moving on, we have Manel Kape versus Felipe dos Santos. Um, Felipe, man, this is a hard first fight in the UFC. I don't think he's gonna do well here. I think he could show his heart in spades here with maybe a late comeback or something, but honestly, I think Felipe dos Santos is a little outmatched here on the feet and the grappling. His wrestling isn't as good as Cap's. Cap's been training anti-wrestling for so long now. I think he's going to be able to deal with Felipe dos Santos. He's just basically a lesser version of Mateus Nicolau. Just more pressure style. I'm going to go with Manel Kape here. I think he's going to get the TKO in the first few rounds. Yeah, but always be careful about fading shoot to box fighters. Moving on, we have Alexander Volkov taking on Tai Tuivasa. So Tuivasa is a dangerous man with dangerous power in his hands. Nice leg kicks, some elbows. Problem with him is he's very unathletic, or not very, but pretty unathletic, and he can't deal with being tired because when he gets tired, it's downhill from there. Um, Lewis somehow deals with being fatigued a lot better, but Tuivasa used to be able to deal with damage a lot better. Now, so that he's been taking two back-to-back KO losses, I think he's going to be a little more reserved, which will feed more into the style of Volkov. I think Volkov's going to hurt him, keep him to the body, keep the range, and just piece him apart from range. I think this is a Volkov fight. Could he get chin? Sure, but he's Swolkov now. He's not the same scrawny guy that fought Derek Lewis. I'm gonna go with Volkov here. I just feel like it's a pretty straightforward matchup. I don't see how Ty, wins this. But yeah, I'm on Alexander Volkov here. Other than fluke KO, I don't see Volkov blowing this. Moving on, we have Israel Adesanya versus Sean Strickland. I've met both these guys. Strickland, I got to spend an hour with. One of the nicest guys you'll meet. So personable, people's champ all the way. Love him. Man, I love Strickland. He is my guy, and I will be rooting for him this weekend, honestly. Just like everybody else, I'll be rooting for him. But the problem with this fight is I don't think he's going to win. And by don't think, I'm almost positive he doesn't win. I'd be shocked to see him win, honestly. But, it could happen. We've seen crazy things. Remember Nunes and Pena? It could happen, But Israel's just too good, man. Too good. Sean wins his press conference, but the fight's a little different. I like Sean. I want him to win, but it's a hard fight for him to win, man. It's a really, really hard fight because you're going to have to try to take him down, and Israel's takedown defense is a thing of beauty. So, I don't know, man. Especially for strikers. All us strikers use Israel as a beacon of light to guide us through this world of wrestling. So, it's going to be hard to get him down. Even hard, like once you get him down, it's a little easier, but you know, dealing with him on taking him. I just think Strickland. I think Strickland, if he wins, it's later, and if he wins, the whole world will be at a better place. I mean, I don't know. I love Strickland. Adesanya's the man too. He was super cool to me, but man, this is a hard fight. This is a hard fight for Strickland. I'm on Adesanya. He's probably my most confident pick of the card. Don't say that a lot about main events, but here we are. Most number two would have to be Manel Kape. Number three would have to be Nasrat Haqparast. Number four would have to be Carlos Ulberg, or number three would also be Carlos Ulberg. Number four would have to be Volkov. And number five would have to be, Radtke and Miranda. Either one of those two. All right, guys, like, subscribe. You know the drill. I'll see you next time.